Alexandra's hands trembled as she stared at the medical report on her phone, the words "malignant" and "stage 3" blurring through her tears. She had exactly 72 hours to start treatment, and her billionaire husband Marcus hadn't answered her calls in 5 months. The cruel irony wasn't lost on her: she might die before he even noticed she was gone. The diagnosis had arrived that morning, turning her carefully constructed world to ash. 5 months of Marcus's absence, of his assistant deflecting her calls, of empty beds and hollow promises. 5 months of wondering what she'd done wrong, while he built empires on different continents. And now, cancer. The ultimate deadline. Alexandra needed his medical insurance, his support, his presence, all things that had vanished like morning fog. But there was something else, a secret she'd been keeping that made his absence even more devastating. Alexandra scrolled through her phone gallery, past countless selfies taken in empty spaces where Marcus should have been. Their anniversary dinner for one. Christmas morning alone. Her birthday celebrated with delivery pizza and Netflix. She paused at the most recent, a candid shot taken by her friend Zara at the charity gala last weekend. In it, Alexandra's expression was unguarded, her dark brown skin glowing under chandeliers, eyes reflecting a sadness so profound it seemed to radiate from the screen. She hadn't posted it anywhere. Hadn't planned to. But now, with death potentially looming, what did she have to lose? Her manicured finger hovered over the share button. This selfie would be her last attempt to reach him, her digital SOS. The notification came 3 hours later as she sat in her oncologist's office discussing treatment options. Marcus Lancaster has viewed your post. Then, Marcus Lancaster is calling. Alexandra's heart thundered against her ribs as she excused herself to answer. His voice, once so familiar, now sounded foreign. "Alexandra," he breathed, "I'm on my way home." "Why now?" she whispered. "After 5 months of silence, why does one photo bring you running?" His answer shattered everything she thought she knew about their marriage. "Because the man standing behind you in that picture is the same man who's been trying to kill me since March." Alexandra stumbled from the oncologist's office in a daze, the phone clutched against her chest. Marcus's revelation replayed in her mind: a corporate takeover gone wrong, death threats, a security protocol that required complete isolation from loved ones, including her. But the man in her photo, whom she'd assumed was just another charity gala attendee, was apparently the assassin who'd been hunting Marcus across continents. "Don't go home," Marcus had instructed. "Meet me at the Grand in 30 minutes. Tell no one. Trust no one." As her driver navigated downtown traffic, Alexandra examined the photo again. The stranger stood 3 people behind her, partially obscured but clearly focused on her, not the gala. How had she never noticed him? Then something else caught her eye, a small reflection in the decorative mirror behind them. A familiar watch. A familiar sleeve. She zoomed in, heart pounding. It couldn't be. The car stopped at a red light, and Alexandra glanced up to see a black SUV pulling alongside. The window lowered, revealing a face she recognized from Marcus's executive team. He nodded once, gesturing for her to roll down her window. Relief flooded her: someone connected to Marcus, someone who could explain. But as she reached for the window control, she noticed something that made her blood freeze. On his wrist was the watch from the reflection in her photo. Alexandra locked her door just as the light turned green. "Drive," she commanded her chauffeur. "Fast." The SUV swerved, attempting to cut them off, but her driver, reacting with unexpected skill, accelerated through a narrow gap in traffic. As they careened around a corner, Alexandra's phone lit up with a text from an unknown number: "Marcus Lancaster is dead. Has been for weeks. The man you're meeting isn't your husband." The Grand Hotel loomed ahead, its polished facade glittering in the afternoon sun. Alexandra's mind raced with impossible scenarios. If Marcus was dead, who had called her? If he wasn't dead, why would someone claim he was? And if the executive in the SUV was connected to the assassin, who could she trust? She instructed her driver to circle the block while she frantically called the one person who might know the truth, Marcus's twin brother Michael, from whom he'd been estranged for years. The call went to voicemail 5 times before he finally answered. "Alexandra? This isn't a good time. Is Marcus alive?" she demanded. The silence lasted 3 heartbeats. "Who told you otherwise?" "Someone just texted me claiming he's been dead for weeks. I'm supposed to meet him at the Grand in 10 minutes, but I don't know if it's him or." "Don't go in there," Michael's voice turned urgent. "Marcus contacted me 2 days ago. He said if anything happened to him, I should tell you about the safe deposit box at First National. Box 1121. The key is in your grandmother's brooch, the one he gave you for your first anniversary." Alexandra's hand instinctively went to her throat, where the brooch was pinned. "Michael, I have cancer. Stage 3. I need to know if my husband is alive, and I need to know now." Another pause. "The man at the Grand is Marcus. But he's not the man you married 5 years ago." Before she could demand clarification, an explosion rocked the street ahead. Flames engulfed the entrance of the Grand Hotel, and screams filled the air. Alexandra watched in horror as the place where she was supposed to meet Marcus transformed into an inferno. Her phone buzzed with another text from the unknown number. "Now do you believe me?" 3 hours later, Alexandra sat in a private hospital room, monitors beeping steadily as doctors treated her for shock. The cancer diagnosis now seemed like a secondary concern compared to the day's events. The police had questioned her about her connection to the bombing but seemed satisfied she was merely a potential victim who'd arrived late. She turned the brooch over in her hands, examining the intricate design she'd admired for years without noticing anything unusual. With trembling fingers, she pressed the hidden seam Michael had described over the phone. The brooch opened, revealing a tiny key. "You shouldn't be alone right now," said a voice from the doorway. Alexandra looked up to see Zara, her closest friend, the one who'd taken the fateful selfie. "How did you know I was here?" Alexandra asked. "Michael called me." Zara crossed the room, her familiar perfume providing momentary comfort. "He told me everything. About Marcus, about the company, about what's been happening these past 5 months." Alexandra clutched the key tighter. "And what exactly did he tell you?" Zara sat on the edge of the bed. "That Marcus has been living under an assumed identity while investigating embezzlement in his company. That whoever is stealing from him got wise and hired someone to eliminate him. That he's been staying away to protect you." She took Alexandra's hand. "And that the real Marcus Lancaster arrived at the Grand Hotel 30 minutes early and is now in surgery 6 floors above us with 3rd-degree burns." Relief flooded Alexandra, followed immediately by fresh terror. "Is he going to survive?" Zara's expression softened. "The doctors are cautiously optimistic. But Alexandra, there's more." She hesitated. "Michael said Marcus discovered who was behind the embezzlement scheme just yesterday. He was coming to tell you everything." "Who?" Alexandra demanded. "Who would do this?" Zara's eyes filled with tears. "Me." The monitors began beeping frantically as Alexandra's heart rate spiked. She tried to pull her hand away, but Zara's grip tightened painfully. "I'm so sorry," Zara whispered, reaching into her purse. "But I can't let you access that safe deposit box." The syringe was halfway to Alexandra's arm when the hospital room door burst open. Michael Lancaster stood there, looking so much like his twin that Alexandra's heart contracted painfully. Behind him were 2 security guards. "Step away from her," Michael ordered, his voice identical to Marcus's but harder somehow, colder. Zara's hand wavered. "You don't understand what's at stake." "I understand perfectly," Michael replied. "You've been siphoning funds from Lancaster Enterprises for years. When Marcus started getting close to the truth, you hired someone to eliminate him. When that failed, you targeted his wife. The security guards moved forward, but Zara was faster. She plunged the needle into her own thigh instead, her eyes never leaving Alexandra's. He was never going to choose you, she gasped as the drug took effect. 5 months without contact? He was with me. Every night. While you waited by the phone. The guards caught Zara as she collapsed, but Alexandra barely noticed. Her mind was spinning with fresh betrayal. Is that true? She asked Michael as paramedics rushed in. Michael's expression was grim. Marcus will have to answer that himself. 2 hours later, Alexandra stood outside her husband's burn unit, the key to the safe deposit box heavy in her palm. The doctors had stabilized him, but he remained unconscious, his face and upper body wrapped in bandages. 5 months of silence, and now she might never hear his voice again. Mrs. Lancaster? A nurse approached. Your husband is showing signs of regaining consciousness. You can see him now, but only for a few minutes. Alexandra steeled herself and entered the room. Marcus's eyes were the only part of his face visible through the bandages. They widened when he saw her, filling with tears that trickled down into the gauze. Alexandra, he whispered hoarsely. You're alive. She stood at the foot of his bed, unable to move closer. Zara said you were with her. These past 5 months. Marcus tried to shake his head, wincing in pain. Never. Not once. His bandaged hand reached toward her. The safe deposit box, did Michael tell you? Yes. She held up the key. But I haven't gone yet. I needed to hear from you first. Everything's there, Marcus wheezed. Proof of Zara's embezzlement. Evidence that she threatened to kill you if I contacted you. The GPS trackers she planted in your belongings. His eyes conveyed what his damaged face couldn't: desperation, love, fear. I stayed away to protect you. Every single day was agony. Alexandra approached the bed slowly. Why didn't you tell me? Why not warn me about her? She monitored everything, your phone, your computer, even your car. She had people watching you constantly. The moment I contacted you directly, she would have known. His voice broke. I've been working with the FBI to build a case against her network. We were finally ready to move yesterday when I saw your selfie. Saw her assassin standing behind you. The man from your executive team? Alexandra asked. Not mine. Hers. Marcus's breathing grew labored. Alexandra, there's one more thing you need to know. The monitors suddenly blared as Marcus's vitals plummeted. Medical staff rushed in, pushing Alexandra aside as they worked to stabilize him. A nurse escorted her firmly from the room, promising updates soon. In the hallway, Michael waited, his face grave. Did he tell you? Tell me what? Alexandra demanded, fear clawing at her throat. Michael took a deep breath. About the baby. 1 month later, Alexandra sat in a private room at a different hospital, cradling a newborn with caramel skin and her father's eyes. Marcus sat beside her, his burns healing but still visible, a permanent reminder of how close they'd come to losing everything. The safe deposit box had contained exactly what Marcus promised: evidence of Zara's extensive financial crimes, the threats against Alexandra, and one more thing, proof that Zara had been slowly poisoning Alexandra for months, causing symptoms that mimicked cancer. The diagnosis had been fabricated by a doctor on Zara's payroll, part of an elaborate scheme to control both Alexandra's medical treatment and the Lancaster fortune if Marcus died. He's perfect, Marcus whispered, gently touching their son's cheek. I still can't believe I almost missed this. Alexandra leaned against her husband's shoulder. When the real oncologist confirmed I was never sick, just poisoned, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I vote for laugh, Marcus said softly. We've had enough tears to last a lifetime. The door opened, and Michael entered with a bouquet of flowers. The estrangement between the twins had healed during the crisis, another unexpected blessing from their ordeal. "How's my nephew doing?" Michael asked, setting the flowers on a table already crowded with arrangements. "Thriving," Alexandra replied. Unlike Zara's conspirators. The news had broken that morning. The FBI had arrested 23 people connected to Zara's embezzlement scheme, including 3 Lancaster Enterprises executives and the doctor who had given Alexandra the false cancer diagnosis. Zara herself remained in a coma, her self-inflicted overdose having caused irreversible brain damage. "The press is still camped outside," Michael reported. "They're calling it the selfie that saved Lancaster Industries. You two are trending worldwide." Marcus shook his head. "Let them talk. We have more important things to focus on now." He met Alexandra's gaze. "I've stepped down as CEO. Michael will take over while I focus on being a husband and father." Alexandra's eyes widened. "But the company is your life." "No," Marcus said firmly. "You are. You and this little guy." He looked down at their son. 5 months away from you taught me what really matters. I'm never making that mistake again." As the baby dozed in her arms, Alexandra reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them here. From the despair of that moment in the doctor's office, believing she was dying and abandoned, to the joy of this new beginning, all because of one unplanned selfie that had captured more than she ever imagined. "I think we should share our story," she said suddenly. "The real story. Not the sensationalized version the media is running with." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure? We've always been private people." "I am." Alexandra nodded. "If our experience can help even one person recognize the warning signs of manipulation or appreciate what really matters in life, it's worth sharing." 3 months later, their video, a raw, honest account of deception, separation, and ultimate reunion, became the most watched personal testimony of the year. Millions of viewers found inspiration in their journey from betrayal to forgiveness, from near death to new life. And for those who stayed until the end, Alexandra's closing words resonated deeply. "Sometimes it takes losing everything to discover what you never really lost." If this story touched you, if it helped you appreciate the people who truly matter in your life, share it with them today. Don't wait for a crisis to say what needs saying. Don't wait for a selfie to save what's already yours to protect.